Welcome to Learning Life Skills Together. This is our weekly community Zoom meeting where our guests help us to go deeper into the 4 life skills and open up a huge array of chances to practice them. Hello, everyone. This is our 46th Zoom meeting for Learning Life Skills Together, and I'm here today with Jarvis Berry from the Coatesville Youth Initiative, and we've got a lot to talk about, and the Coatesville Youth Initiative has a big event coming up this Saturday, so we want to be sure to tell you all about that. But first, as always, we're going to begin by centering ourselves, finding a way to settle in to listen. If you'd like, you could close your eyes for this. If you're driving and listening, please don't close your eyes. So just closing your eyes or not, and feeling your body sitting, standing, lying down, wherever you are. Feeling how you are touching down, which is also how you're being held. So if you're sitting, the chair, the couch, the car seat is holding you. And gravity is holding you in that seat, in that position. So you might notice that it's really not necessary for you to do a lot of work or put forth a lot of effort to be where you are. You're being held there. If you're lying down, you're being held. If you're standing up, gravity is still holding you. So just see if it's possible to notice that fact, to notice the effort that you don't need to put into being where you are. And maybe you notice that you're breathing as you're sitting or standing or lying down. So this just happens. You can notice that it's happening. And maybe you notice that as you breathe out, you actually settle a little more. That there's maybe a dropping down or a dropping in as you breathe out. Just following that, letting that happen. You're in this place, in this time, and not really much to do right now. Allowing yourself just to be where you are and be the way you are. And you might take a deeper breath now in through your nose and out through your mouth. And you might try that again. And then you could, I don't know, bring your attention to what Jarvis and I are going to say together. So I'm going to start by asking Jarvis how this was for him, because I can't ask the audience today since we're recorded. So Jarvis, how was this for you?
It was great. I always love participating in anything that's like mindfulness, what keeps you in the moment and centers you, grounds you. So it was great. I'm glad I was able to jump right in and take part.
Okay. And so here we are in this moment together. So Coatesville Youth Initiative is a organization that I would like to know more about. I'm really hoping that you could sort of talk to us about how it started.
Mhm. Well, what was it, 2008, I believe, or 2007, but organization called back then the Brandywine Health Foundation brought together. They did this extensive study and brought in a researcher, a data analyst to look at what are the needs of the youth in Coatesville.
Mm,
Brought together community members, business owners, et cetera. Anyone you could think of came. And short into the story, we met, we went through months of conversation, data pulling, information, and we came out to what was needed was an organization that truly focused on the 19320 youth and provided specifically what they needed and really was attuned to the needs of the youth in that community. Now, that didn't mean it wouldn't be inclusive necessarily for other youth, but that was the focus. So
hmm.
after those needs were kind of looked at, and it decided we needed an organization. That's how the Coatesville Youth Initiative was born. Ironically, I participated in, we had committees. So I participated in the youth, I think it was called the Youth Development Committee. And in my committee also was someone named Kaya Scott. And so she was hired as the first founding executive director, and I was hired along with her as my title back then was called community mobilizer. So I've been here from the beginning. That's how
Wow.
we got started. We were founded on data, and that's something you'll hear either me talk about a lot or hear when I talk. We're a data-based organization. Everything we do is based on what the youth or community residents say they've encountered with youth and they feel is needed for the youth. So that's
Mm,
a really big principle of what we stand on is being grounded in youth. Youth driven is how we put it.
yeah. Yeah. So 2008, somewhere around there,
Yes.
beginning. What were the things that were identified, sort of the standout needs of the youth in 2008?
Mhm. Well, one of the biggest ones, which we're still working on, and I just that's why it stands out, was transportation. So
Mm,
transportation is an issue. So that is one of the reasons we are housed and will continue to be housed. We're located right in the city of Coatesville. We're smack dab in the center. We're in what's called the Benner Building, downtown Coatesville. And the reason behind that is to help with that problem so that many of our youth, they're able to just walk here, bike here, come here right after school. So that was
mm,
a really big issue. The other
yeah.
issue that we still focus on today, so most of the issues we still continue to work on, was prevention issues. So we operate under four pillars, and one of those pillars is called prevention. And under that pillar is we work with underage substance use prevention, violence prevention, and then we call it mental health support, but trying to prevent mental health issues, but of course also supporting youth who have mental health issues. So those were some of the top ones, and those are the ones we
Right.
continue to focus on today.
Yeah, yeah. And the transportation thing is really, really interesting and deserves as much airtime as we can give it. We really need to be able to get people around. One of the things that the Learning Life Skills Together program does is tries to get folks outside in nature. And that's really hard
Yes.
sometimes we have lots of fabulous places to go in Chester
Oh my
County,
goodness.
and
Yes.
we can't always get people there. It,
Yes.
it is frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that. Uh we did a poll or survey of our youth, which we're constantly doing. And one of the polls I remember significantly was I asked youth, how many have ever been to Hibernia Park? And if those who aren't aware of where Hibernia Park is in vicinity of Coatesville, it's literally, I think, no more about 5 miles away. So it's really close. And at that time, now this was a few years ago, it was 97% of the youth had said they'd never been there.
Wow.
And we were shocked. So one of the things that came upon that is something we do now annually. We actually have a summer camp. It's a week-long watershed environment-based summer camp
Oh,
specifically for that
fabulous.
reason to get kids out.
Yeah.
And it's called Camp Quiet Thunder, named after Chief Quiet Thunder of the Lenape Indians. But so it's funny you say that because yes, it's actually a passion of mine is being out in nature, but getting young people out in nature as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And so, sort of we started off, you're talking about mindfulness. And so to be outside
Mm.
turns on all of our senses. It brings us into the present moment. It brings us in, and it does so many great things for us. And to think that there are kids who can't get there is really, really
Yes.
frustrating, difficult. Yeah. So the other thing that you were talking about, so you were talking about substance use, you were talking about violence, and you were talking about mental health
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
mental health on the prevention level. And so that's where we come in. That's what learning life skills together was created for. I mean, so our state senator, Carolyn Comita, approached me saying, "What can we do
Mhm.
for, the youth that would be helpful?" She and I have talked for a very long time about mindfulness and that kind of thing. And she is a big proponent
Mhm.
and helped to find the funding for learning life skills together, which is for our youth, but from kind of an interesting direction, I think. Um, it's really aimed at the parents and carers. So,
Mhm.
so sort of anybody who is working with kids can benefit from our program, which reminds you, adults, that as successful adults, you have the four life skills that really contribute to mental health. The first one being paying attention, that mindfulness thing again that you were talking about. So when we know what's going on with us on the inside and know what's happening on the outside, we have a chance.
Mhm.
We have a chance of being able to work things through and figure things out. Kids don't always know what they're feeling. They don't always know what's going on. They can't always say, "I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm sad," whatever it is. It's not right there. And so that's kind of that first basic skill that adults can model, and living their lives, they should be modeling it. Yeah, the next one is emotion regulation. And so noticing, hey, I'm really feeling sad right now. How can I help myself? What can I do? What are some things? What are some ideas, some techniques, some ways um, of helping myself. And then sometimes things are difficult for us for a while, and we're not going to get over it in a day or 5 minutes or whatever. So how is it that we get through tough times? It's a tough one for adults too. We all struggle with this one, right? Getting through those moments that are difficult. And there are techniques, there are ways of thinking, there are things that we all know how to do and manage to do. And then finally, the fourth of the four is effective communication. And so you can see that these build. So if I know what's going on with me and I can deal with it for a little bit, I can talk to someone. I can say, "Hey, here's what's going on with me. I think I need this. Can you help me?" I mean, that to me is the most effective possible communication. And I like to talk about it in terms of very small children. So if you're in the Acme with a little kid and they are feeling overwhelmed, they feel like there's too many people, too many legs that they're looking up at, and they're scared, and they throw themselves on the ground because they're scared. You don't know what's going on. They're not telling you what's going on, and there's sometimes a scene. If they could pull your pant leg and say, "Hey, Dad, I'm really scared right now. Could you pick me up? Could we go over there for a while?" Whatever, you've changed how you are, how the child is, and how the Acme is in that moment, right? So just this very simple idea of knowing what's happening and being able to name it, I think is really, really key. And so there's, there's a teen version of that. There's a young adult version of that. So it's, we're teaching that basic skill and asking parents to share those skills, or carers to share those skills with the kids that they're with. So, so that's what we're up to.
Mm.
And so I think we really do fit in with your model in a way. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. And I also like how you guys there's an emphasis on supporting and folks of the parents. Um, so we do offer same thing. We offer some so parental engagement. I talked about 4 pillars. Parental engagement is one of our other pillars.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You've got to get the parents involved if you really want the kids to whatever be successful, have a better life. You can throw out all the things you want, but you really need to get the parents involved. And as a parent, there's skills we aren't always aware of. There's new techniques or there's different techniques. So
Yeah,
that's off to
yeah.
your
And
program.
sometimes we forget the skills
Yes,
and don't use them. And so sometimes we just need to refresh ourselves.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah. And so the idea of mental health and the preventive side of things. Now, when kids are in crisis,
Mm,
they need the same things. They need parents who know what's going on with them, what's going on around them. They need parents who can control their emotions and be, that safe place, that calm place for them. So it's not, it sounds like a preventive program, and it is, and it has this whole other piece of supporting kids who are, uh, sort of struggling more than
mm,
they would like, and that we would like.
perfect.
Yeah. So what are the big initiatives that you have on right now?
Okay. So I'll put that in terms of our 4 pillars. I keep referring to them, but I already said one pillar is our prevention. And under prevention, we provide what we call mostly activities in that realm. So we support things. There's a thing called Red Ribbon Week, where we do activities in conjunction with the high schools and trying to help young people understand why they shouldn't drink, why they definitely shouldn't drink and drive, why they should have a alcohol-free prom, for example. So those are some of the things we do around prevention. We also have what's called evidence-based programs. So we have a program called um, we've had various programs, but families and schools together. So different programs we do that are evidence-based, and evidence-based simply means the program developers have all this evidence, this data that shows if you implement it the way we say, it's going to work. So we're big on bringing those here to the community,
Yeah,
implementing those.
yeah.
So that's under prevention. Like I said, we have the mental health side. We have a group called the Mind Mavericks. They're a mental health group
Hmm.
for young people, and it twofold. It gives them an opportunity to come in, talk about some of the issues in a safe space, but also it's peer and peer help, to support each other. So
Hmm.
kids know, hey, other kids are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
We bring in speakers, presenters, but it's really focused around allowing them to talk and to chat and hopefully help each other. Pretty popular program as well, though. The other Another peer, I'm sorry, another of our tiers is parental engagement. And, I started talking a little bit about that in reference to the life skills, but we have a program called Incredible Years Parents. So that is an evidence-based program where we bring parents in and we kind of support them around skills. And it's kind of what you were referring to. It's some of the skills they already have, but let's just make sure you're doing them.
Yeah.
Make sure you're
Yeah.
remembering them. And then you might be introduced to some new stuff, some things you just didn't know. We also have a tier we work on called community engagement. So we run what's called the Coatesville Coalition. And plain and simply, it's about bringing together anyone who serves youth, wants to serve youth, believe in youth. We bring them together. That's agencies, residents, you name it. And we just talk about collaborating and how can we work together, as a strong unity, work together to
Mm.
do more. And an outcome of that is we actually do quarterly a mental health project for the sixth graders in the Coatesville School District. So once again, support for mental health, but that's our coalition and community engagement. Then the final tier, which is kind of the primary tier, is just youth development. So obviously, we're pretty much all things youth. We have a youth council, and the youth council is all about trying to teach youth how to advocate for themselves in their community. So we work with them to do presentations at like city council, the school
Mm.
board,
Wow.
things of that nature, so that they can be prepared once again when they get older and move on. And even now, but it's so important to be able to advocate for yourself.
Wow.
So those are some of the things we have a lot of programs that hopefully fit a little bit of everyone. We have a homeless clothing resource outlet that if a family is going through a crisis, homelessness, displacement for the child, we have opportunities they can come in and potentially get clothing, other supplies. They may need personal supplies. So we do kind of morph into that field just to try to help in every realm we can with the
Yeah.
community. But CYI is, we stand firm. We're a gap filling organization. So we go through an extensive data collecting process called Communities That Cares in the Strategic Prevention Framework. And all that fancy jargon is to say we go through a process of asking the community, what are the needs? And
Right.
then once we get those needs, we find out who in the community is already doing those needs, who's already making an impact. If there's a lot of organizations focusing on that, then we say, perfect, we put that in our report. If there are some things that are not being taken care of or not as much as could be, that's where CYI comes into play. So that's really important for people to know about CYI. We're a gap filling organization, and we're data driven. We don't just say, oh, it'd be nice to have this. So that's how we get all of our programs, activities, et cetera. And then, partnering with other organizations. We partner with a lot of organizations in our community because that's kind of the only way we're really going to get a lot done, because we as an organization can't do it all. No other organization. But
Yeah.
that's kind of the nutshell of our philosophy, what we do, and then some of those outcomes. We just hope we really want youth just to learn some, taking you guys' term, life skills. Like that's really what it's about. We're hoping to obviously prevent them from making what we call bad decisions and proper decisions, poor behavior. But we also want to instill with them the skills to make good decisions, not just not make the bad decisions, but make the good
Right.
decisions. So that's kind of the whole impetus behind CYI. We do those formal programs such as like a Mind Mavericks, IYP I talked about, but then we do informal things. Just kids come out, we have gaming tournaments where we know kids love playing on their Xboxes, et cetera. So we have gaming tournaments, we have flag football tournaments, we go karting, just things also just to have fun, to get kids
Mm.
out the house,
Right.
and in
Yeah.
nature, or just out and hanging out with other people, their friends. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of a quick but long synopsis of CYI and some of the things, but we do a lot, and we invite anyone. Check our website out, which obviously is coatesvilleyouthinitiative.org. to see a lot of the many things we do trying to support the youth and the community.
Yeah. And one of the things I think people might run into is your event that's coming up this
Yes.
Saturday, the 26th of October.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you'd like to tell us about that.
Absolutely. This, I believe, is our fourth year. We have the annual Coatesville, we call it Coatesville Fall Fest. And it's everything fall. It's geared towards younger kids, little kids. So we ask, come on out in your costumes. We actually randomly walk around and give prizes out to kids who have the cutest, best, whatever you want to call it, costumes. But the festival is all about fall. It's like you said, October 26th, this Saturday, 12 to 3 p.m. And the activities include there's a pumpkin patch. So kids will get to pick their own pumpkins, and then they can take those pumpkins, get them painted. So there's a pumpkin patch. We'll have about, close to 100 vendors this year. Um, and there's going to be, of course, some fall food. What do you call those? Apple spice donuts.
Hmm.
But it's all about the activities.
Yeah.
And a lot of the activities are geared just around kind of those, we call them backyard fun activities, but we'll have like I said, you will have pumpkin picking, but then we'll have a lot of it's called a hay toss. We have pumpkin bowling. So a lot of fun things for kids to do. There will be a hay ride. So we'll get to ride around. Pinky Toes is a company. They donate their time and effort, and they put on hay bales in the back of their trailer and take kids around for a nice, authentic hayride right in the city of Coatesville. So it's really a lot going on. This year, what's even better is we've partnered with the Alliance for Health Equity right here in Coatesville. And the same day, same time, they're also going to be holding what's called the block party. So you can double the benefit by coming out. Take advantage of Fall Fest, which is little kids. Then the block party is kind of more, might be geared more for older people, older kids, young people, and adults. And the block party similar. It's going to have vendors, it's going to have food vendors, music, DJ, all that. But it's all a part of the Fall Fest, and we're kind of working this together.
Wow.
So it's really going to be a big
Yeah.
event this year. It's located
That's nice.
in what's called Abdala Park, and that address actually is 851 Olive Street in Coatesville. It's a giant field, and then right next door will be the block party. So anyone who's from the Coatesville area or lives in that vicinity close by, please come drop through. Guaranteed fun. And one of the things this year we're super excited about is looks like we're going to have good weather. So we're really excited
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the Fall Fest. Face painting, anything fall. We hope we've captured it, and we'll be on display for people to participate in at the Fall Fest.
That is terrific. We will be there as well. We are one of the 100 folks. We'll have a table. We'll love to see people, tell them about our program. And usually we have some interesting things to give away, and we have a free raffle. And I think it is fall themed, so people will have to come and see. All right. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to being there and seeing
Yeah,
what
a lot of
on.
giveaways.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. So, thank you for telling us all about Coatesville Youth Initiative and the ties that there are between your efforts and the efforts of learning life skills together. And so, I always ask when we wrap things up with a guest. Do you have some words of wisdom for us? If you could boil things down, what's really important takeaway for today?
I guess it's almost cliche, but it really is how we work and what we believe, and that's it takes a village. Um, that's why, thank you for having me on today because, working together, but our organization, we don't try to do it all. So we do partner out, but we just invite others to take that same mentality. Think of others as you're planning things. Think of others. If you have an event, invite others, invite the community,
And
invite people to participate. But that's our philosophy is it takes a village. So we really try to support anything and everything we can that really will help specifically the youth of Coatesville.
I love it. Great, great message. So thank you, Jarvis,
Thank you.
for talking with me. It was highly enjoyable. And
Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate it. I enjoyed
and
it as well.
I look forward to seeing you on the ground
Yes.
on Saturday.
Yes.
Great.
All right. Thank you.